In this video, I'm going to apply the guiding principles for technology selection to the creation of lecture recordings for remote teaching. So the guiding principles that we have been advocating for here in this resource are that technologies ought to be institutionally supported, enabling asynchronous engagement, that they're accessible and easy to use. So when it comes to creating a lecture recording, how do these four principles apply to creating that type of resource for your course? First, when it comes to institutionally supported tools that you might make use of in creating a video recording, we recommend Ensemble Video Recorder plugin, Camtasia, or certain features within PowerPoint that allow for recording. You will be able to find, in accompaniment with this video, other resources that walk you through getting these technologies, putting them to use, and using them in creating a recording. But for now, I'm going to move on and continue to talk about those guiding principles as more of an overall recommendation for how to engage in this type of teaching resource creation. So by nature of recording a video and posting it, you're already supporting students in engaging in an asynchronous format. This would be, of course, the alternative is to host your lectures in a live webinar. However, that poses some complications in terms of access. So, because not everyone will be able to join that recording at the same time. Asynchronous options also allow for other forms of engagement to be built in. So here's a couple recommendations that we have for lecture recordings done in a way that support this sort of asynchronous format of student engagement. Just-in-time weekly videos is a really great way to support students, respond to things that come up in the course, and orient students to the week ahead. So these are videos that you create just in time, basically, to post for the week ahead as the course goes on. You don't have to worry too much about making a refined and perfect video. Rather, the value here is that you're able to respond to students as the course is progressing. When it comes to lecture content, we encourage chunking content into videos that are no longer than 7 to 10 minutes long. Why? This is one of the elements supported by research that shows students' engagement in videos and posted content, that 7 to 10 minutes tends to be a sweet spot for keeping attention. So what we recommend here, of course, is to take a 50-minute lecture, for example, and breaking it down into its chunks, into its subcomponents that work well as sectioned out into these blocks of material. And then to build around the video. So this might come in the form of text that goes on the OnCue site around the video that might clarify certain expectations. So when students need to be watching this video and on what timeline. Possibly adding comprehension checks such as a quick quiz that follows up on the ideas presented. And then wayfinding elements is about showing students how to engage in the course and in a platform like OnCue, in and around the video and how they're meant to engage. When it comes to accessibility with recordings, a couple suggestions here. To describe any images that you're using to convey important information so that there's a verbal explanation along with the visual representation. The Accessibility Hub has some guidelines for accessible PowerPoint slides, and this is particularly valuable when you are recording videos that use PowerPoint as the basis. So this gives some guideline in terms of fonts, colors, and spacing that make it easy to see and view from an accessibility point of view. Finally, an important element of accessibility is closed captioned videos. This is put in brackets here because you may need to look to other platforms for supporting your closed captioning. The go-to suggestion that I have, that I use regularly myself, is to upload your videos to YouTube, You have the option of unlisting those videos so that they're not searchable in the YouTube platform, but YouTube offers a really great auto captioning service that saves you the time from having to explore other avenues of closed captioning your videos. Often those options are lengthy and time consuming, so YouTube is a great time saver there. Finally, of course, you want your tools and technologies and process to all be easy to use. And a couple suggestions here would be to create a script or even just a general storyboard so that you know what you're planning to say. Oftentimes, people feel a bit intimidated by recording a video, but just remember that you are explaining your concepts and course materials the same way that you would in lecture. And that brings me to my second point, that a video doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, there's literature that shows that the videos that are unrefined, less scripted, and more natural in terms of the way you would otherwise talk and communicate are actually better for engagement. So don't worry too much about editing it a bunch to make it this perfect, refined, highly processed video. Rather, focus on making it easy to share, easy to watch, so the way that that's embedded into OnCue or provided to students so that students can quickly get to viewing those videos. And finally, connect to students for some feedback. This is one thing that I learned as I was teaching an online course and using a lot of video, that I quickly learned how to listen to students' feedback when they were having troubles maybe accessing certain platforms or unable to play videos. I adjusted that on the fly and switched to platforms that weren't going to pose many troubles. So, and those are the ones that were that I have presented about and talked about here. So that's really a run through in terms of these guiding principles and applying it to lecture recording.